Hey, at least you know you got people checking on you. I don't know if the red light's good or not.
Okay.
If red light is good or not. I know.
I do not.
So we are ready whenever you are.
Roll call.
Mrs. Petropoulos absent. Mrs. Lebudzic.
Here.
Mrs. Lammle.
Here.
Mrs. Grove. Here. Mrs. Birkin absent. Mrs. Schroeder.
Here.
And Mr. Medina.
We'll rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Introduction of guests.
Yeah, so we have our I'm assuming union representation back there, so thank you for being here this evening. You'll notice our admin team is a little light today. We have some sickness going through and some things, so we're just gonna leave it at that. And then we also have Jeff Slade from RSM, who's actually gonna be presenting to us. You're first up, and so.
Usually I don't get to go first, so I'm just kicking everything out, but nice to see everyone again. I usually come around this time of year as we are in the process of wrapping up the district's annual audit. So currently we're undergoing some quality control reviews. With this year, some of the delays were currently the district is still waiting on the finalized property tax agency report that gets issued by Cook County. And when it comes to the single audit, that piece is a little bit in limbo, but it's completely out of the district's control and completely out of us as the auditor's control. And that has to do with the government shutdown, because before the shutdown, what is called the compliance supplement was not yet released. They haven't released a draft form. So we've performed our testing over the district's two major programs, but the standards explicitly state that a single audit report cannot be released until the compliance supplement has been finalized. So when I say it's up in limbo, is it just we simply don't know the answer. They were supposedly getting close to issuing it before the government shutdown, but that is something that no one has an answer to at the moment. But so to come back to the audit itself, when it comes to this year's audit of the district, so we work directly with Kathy and her team, and they're always very responsive, very helpful, make time for us, make room for us, provide us any of the requests that we make, because there are loads of them, and it seems like the list is growing every year. But always very appreciated of her and her team, makes things really easy, always hops out our calls, always very communicative. So it makes the process go very, very smoothly. So thank you for that, Kathy. And then when it gets to the audit itself, as I said, we're in the process of finalizing reviews and we will be moving forward though with issuing the district's annual financial report and the financial statements, because we're comfortable enough where things stand with the single audit that we can go ahead and finalize the financial statements. And with that, we'll be issuing what's called a unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion, and it's the highest and best opinion that can be issued. It just simply means that we're comfortable that there are no material misstatements present in the financial statements. For a couple highlights, just to go briefly over, is that this year the district's on the governmental activities, there was a approximately $2.1 million increase in net position. So that just means that the increase in net position is similar or akin to say increase in net income if it was, say, a for-profit entity. What I think is one of the most important pieces of the financial statements is on what is called the statement of net position, or otherwise the balance sheet. And that has to do with the district's reporting approximately $23 million of net investment in capital assets. And what that means is that of all the district over the years has taken out or issued bonds to pay for capital asset addition, building acquisition, or building construction, so on and so forth, that those assets outweigh all the debt associated with it. So it's a positive $23 million. Then when it gets to some of the other highlights, most notably the general fund, or the district's general operating fund, the overall increase in fund balance increased by approximately $1.1 billion. But but that is also the general fund's operations was an increase of $2 million before a transfer out to another fund. This is for paying, I believe, for debt service and for construction costs. So at year end, the district's general fund balance was approximately $29 million, which is equal to over 1 year of the district's annual expenditures. So that's a strong sign of healthy financial standpoint of the districts as well. So then if you go into, say, there is the footnotes, which will provide a lot of detail on the various transactions and disclosures that we go through when compiling the financial statements. If you're having a hard time falling asleep at night, that's where I would point to. But one thing I'll note is that there were some budget to actual variances were required to disclose any of the funds where the district spent more than what was budgeted. And I believe there was 3 funds, all falling in what's called the non-major group. And that just really has to do with some timing differences and also with transportation. I think that's going to be, if you go to any district this year, I think every district is going to be overspent with transportation. Seems like that has just been increasing at an astronomical rate. I think this district was actually more on the lower end, where they were pretty close to the budget amount. We're actually a lot wider range. So that is not something that is going to be out of the ordinary. The others are they're pretty closely tied, and a lot of it just comes down to the district's reporting basis, which is the modified cash. So there is just always going to be some timing differences. There are going to be some timing difference depending on, say, when a contractor with some of the summer projects sends some of those final bills for the summer. So that's just where there's usually sometimes. So 1 year you might be way under, the following year you might be a bit over. It's just it's a balancing act. So overall, I think the district had a very positive year. And when it gets into, as I stated, we did perform our single audit testing, and we've got a lot of things just ready. We're going to go whenever that supplement does come out. But we performed testing over the Child Nutrition Cluster and Title I, in which we did not identify any compliance matters that we need to bring to your attention and to report to the board at this time. We didn't provide a single audit draft just because of the status of the supplement, things where they stand, because there's just the potential of the unknown that there might be a new compliance requirement that was, because we used last year's supplement as a basis for our testing this year. So there is the potential that the new supplement would cause something to arise and bring to your attention at a later date. But as it stands right now, if nothing changes, everything is where we expect it to be. When we do issue that single audit report, we would expect to be issuing what are called unmodified statements over on compliance and on controls. So overall, no issues that we see from the federal expenditures and grant programs at districts as well. And last and most importantly, that I think would be happy to report on is that when we prepared the draft of the district's AFR, that there will be a 4.0 score this year, which I think there are good questions in the past about why you were just falling just short of that 4.0, which just had to do with the district recently issuing debt. So now the cash balances that the district holds outweighs the future upcoming debt payments to allow for that 4.0 score, which is the highest that is the issue, or the highest that the district can obtain. When it comes to other required communications to the board, and there will also be a letter when we finalize everything that gets issued, but when it comes to significant risks that we identify as part of the audit, that just has to do with management's override of control and revenue recognition because of management override and fraudulent revenue recognition. For accounting estimates, we identified the district's depreciation of capital assets as a significant estimate. We had no disagreements with management. The district was not in communication with other accountants, and I believe that is about it. But I'd be happy to turn it over for any questions regarding that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.
Oh, thank you for making me feel that was the first
You're
time.
welcome.
Right.
I appreciate it, but thank you everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, John.
Yeah.
Good
And,
job, Kathy.
as
Thank you
I-
so much.
Oh, and
It's a team effort. Thank you. Okay, 3.0, approval of the consent agenda. We're looking for a motion to approve the minutes from the September 9th meeting, open and closed, as well as the minutes of the September 23rd study session.
I'll second. Mrs. Lamb.
Aye.
Mr. Medina.
Aye.
Mrs. Grove. Aye. Mrs. Schroeder.
Aye.
And Mrs. Lebuter.
Aye. Superintendent's report.
All right, well, welcome everyone. It's very odd having kind of 3 weeks in between the board meeting, so it's nice to have everyone here this evening. Just wanted to give some updates. First of all, our PTA had their first event, the movie night at Finley last month. I was not able to be there. I was down in Springfield, but heard it went very, very well. And then their next upcoming event is on October 22nd. They're going to do their Fall Fest from 5 to 7 p.m. over at Ridge Lawn. And we do have a new PTA president, Ms. Eva Garcia, who has been vice president in the past, has stepped up and is now the president. So they have a lot of fun things planned moving forward. 4.2, our enrollment report, we're at 1,565 students. This is an increase of 7 students from last month, and we're still up 81 students from this time last year. So I'm seeing the teachers and the admin shake their heads. We can tell we have a lot more students. So it's keeping us in business. 4.3, vacant position and possible staffing needs. We're continuously, as I've shared before, looking to hire our own district paraprofessionals. We've already been able to kind of swap some out, and our admin continues to interview everyone who's applying and see who's going to be a good fit, and moving in that direction. We found those are the ones who tend to stay with us longer and just kind of feel more at home. So we want to definitely continue to move in that direction. 4.4, I had mentioned just a few minutes ago, I went down to Springfield for the annual superintendent's conference. And I attended a whole bunch of different sessions. I will say the one common theme that we found throughout a lot of them is that AI was talked about consistently. And it really shows we're working on our AI committee. We have our next meeting, I think Monday already, which will be our 3rd meeting. We are hoping to bring to the board the following month some ideas for guidelines for AI in the district. And I was really surprised that in talking with other districts, most haven't even started this process. It's something that's going to have to be very flexible throughout because it's continuously changing. But we also know kids are using it, staff is using it. So understanding what kind of the do's and the don'ts are right now and teaching kids and staff how to do that, we feel is very, very important. And so this that session that I went to was really confirming of some of the things that we're looking at doing. The other one that I was really happy with, it was a general session, so you have about 500 superintendents in a room, and we're all at the round table, so you have about 8-10 people there, and it was on communication. And so you had 9 people at the table, they couldn't look at the screen, they had a sentence up there, it was a very silly sentence that was long, and the one superintendent had to memorize it best he could, and then they took it off the screen and he played the telephone game. our table, and you can say what you want about superintendents, whether it's good or bad, but we got 2 words correct out of that entire sentence. So we were one of the better ones. It just showed how important clear communication is, and even when it is, how quickly different ideas and thoughts can come up. So that's really important to know as we're trying to convey things to the community and to students and staff. So it was a good conference, and I appreciate the board always supporting me being able to get down there and getting to know what's going on across the state. And then 4.5 is our III conference, which is coming up November 21st through the 23rd. In the packet, if you looked at it online, there's the link in there for you to go to the conference planner. We will do, as we've done in the past, share out a Google doc for you to put on there which sessions you went, so we can share out with everybody, because I really think that's the best use of everyone's time is for us to be able to learn from each other. I'm really, really excited about the general session Saturday morning. It is Damon West, who I've heard already 2 different times. Knowing our group here, I think you guys are going to find it very inspiring on Saturday morning. So I'm excited for you to hear it that day. So, and then the resolutions committee report. We've had times where we've had major discussions on all the things they're going to vote on. Chrissy is the person and Joy is the alternate. There is not a lot there this time. Most of it's on them voting within their own committee, which I don't really care about. So there's not any big law things that they're looking to do. So unless you see something that you want to talk about, we're probably not going to spend much time on it this year. And then my other is to turn it over to our buildings to allow them to tell us what is going really well this month and what are some things they might be working on. So I'm going to just let you guys fight it out and figure out who goes first.
I'll go. I'll get it over with. That's the best way to do it. What's going really well, we had a really big turnout for teachers coming up with ideas for after school activities and a ton of kids sign up. I mean, we got DJ club, which I think is super fun. Crocheting, these girls are rock stars in there. So just some fun, different things. So it's always nice just to see the kids involved, the ones that are like maybe your athletic ones, but your ones that are in there. So love that we still have that opportunity for the kids to do that. And it's something that we're working on. We've got our leaders to learn or learning to lead. I can't think straight at this point. Just kind of making sure that like our scheduling is kind of cohesive and is working the way that it needs to, kind of in-house in our building part, just kind of ironing out the kinks there. So
I'm gonna talk more about what that is.
there you go.
That was gonna be my question.
Yeah.
At Ridge Central, one thing going really well, we're hoping it's gonna go really well, we're really excited about, is our trunk or treat event coming up on the 29th. This was in response to a parent's idea that brought this to us last year and said, it would be really great to have something for some of our friends where maybe these big events with the whole school or the whole district are just a little too much for some of our kids. And it brought up this sensory friendly trunk or treat. So we acted on it, and we have between 25 and 30 cars signed up. And from all 3 buildings, even Finley Student Council has a trunk they're decorating. So really, we are really excited to kind of respond to this parent and this kind of community of parents. And we invited all students across the district, including outplaced students, with an IEP to come join. So we're looking forward to picking out some really great costumes and hoping to report back how wonderful it was in November. And then one thing we're working on, Katie and I looked at our kind of unofficial IAR data, and we were really looking at the ELA standards and how many questions on each standard were on the test and how our kids performed on them. And we said, what else can we do to kind of like boost it up a little to keep seeing this growth? So Katie and I work to make resources for our teachers to use during win time for specific standard practice for our kids who are kind of right on the bubble. They don't get that extra help from the reading interventionist or the EL teacher or the SPED teacher, but they need a little extra boost, a little extra practice. So we came up with this binder of resources, and we presented that to them last Thursday, and are looking forward to seeing how that goes as they implement it.
One thing that's going really well at Ridge Lawn right now is our student council started a new fundraiser this year. We had traditionally done Socktober, which was successful, but they wanted something to kind of revitalize the month of October. And so we're doing the domino effect, where we asked for families to bring in cereal boxes that we will line the hallways with and make a giant domino, have the whole school come out. And it's really taken off. The students are talking about it, the staff is talking about it. every morning when I'm out at Arrival, there's kids bringing in cereal boxes by the dozens, it seems like. So it's all the buzz. I would say we're probably almost about our goal was to have 1,000. We're about halfway there already, and it goes through the end of October. So then hopefully in November, we'll have some cool videos of the dominoes going all around Ridgeland for you.
And then what will you do with the cereal left?
We're donating it to the Worth Food Pantry.
And say,
Yep.
Lucky Charm Party.
And just another area that we're working on is this week is a very busy week in terms of collaboration and shared leadership has been really a big focus for us in our building and across the district. So this week, going along with what Julie was touching on is our LTL, which Megan will talk about. We have that planned for tomorrow. We have a coaching meeting, and Thursday we're excited to have our first semester data meetings. I know it's a little dorky that we're excited about that, but looking at not just NWEA MAP data, but the IAR data too, now that we have the new cut scores, and really looking at where our students fell at the end of last year and starting this year, and kind of using that as jumping points for all of our different planning and supporting our students, whether they need enrichment or whether there are students that might just need that extra boost. So having these opportunities, we're fortunate to be able to plan these different days that we're doing, because it is a cost to the district. You know, we are bringing subs in to release our teachers to meet together, but some of the greatest feedback we've had is from our teachers saying that this time is valuable and they really do appreciate being able to get together. Because we're looking to see if we could do something a little different. They're like, no, those data days we've come to really appreciate that chunk of time that we get to sit and talk as a collaborative group, not only grade level, but bringing in EL staff and special education staff too. So we have that happening on Thursday. So we're looking forward to that.
Thank you, guys. I do want to give a plug for the sensory trunk or treat. I'm planning on pulling up the minivan. And I would love for the board if we could have that be like our car, if we can decorate or something, we can talk about it. I think we should put Tony in charge of decorating.
Nothing scary.
You can't scare the kids though, Tony. But I think that would be really nice if we could do that. So I'll send something out and whatever we can get as far as candy and people who are available. I think that would be nice to be able to partake in.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Curriculums report.
So 5.1, District Literacy Leadership Team. So this is a team that we started last year, so we're in our second year. We call this the DLLT. So this year's focus is to strengthen literacy instruction and improving outcomes for all students. So the team's goal is to ensure that we are aligning to the Illinois Comprehensive Literacy Plan, which is something the state kind of developed with a lot of research. And making sure that teachers are implementing evidence-based strategies and that they're implementing that new year 2 of the new curriculum that we purchased, the instruction and the assessments, and making sure that we're aligning and there's consistency with that implementation. And then throughout the year, the DLLT will work to deepen an understanding on that effective instruction, focusing really on foundational skills, vocabulary, and comprehension. So the team comes together, they meet with our ELA consultant, Kelly Dobek. They get a little bit of learning on all that. They go into deep dive and understanding about how to use that information, what that teaching looks like, how to implement in that classroom, how to support their teams in that, and what are some takeaways that they can then go talk with their teacher teams. And how to use assessment data and how to meet the students' needs. So all of this that they're working on, it really aligns to our ongoing commitment to high quality instruction, and then the goals that we have to make sure that students are successful in reading. The goals that we want all students reading at grade level, at the end of that year. Any questions on that? No, so
When do you guys meet?
So we meet 6 times a year, and it just varies on the days of when our ELA consultant is available, and then also varying it so that teachers, because we pull them out during the school day for 3 hours, so we get a good amount of time together. So either AM or PM, and we kind of vary that so teachers aren't missing the same time, all AM, or all PM, so we vary it.
And is it in both schools together?
It's a whole district.
Separate?
District, yep. So we have representation, we have probably 3 to 4 staff members from each of the buildings, and then 1 administrator from each building as well. All meet together for the 3 hours, 6 times a year.
And how do you guys decide what staff members do?
We do ask for teachers to volunteer to be a part of it. We did have one teacher that left at the end of last year, so that school building principal, had reached out to a teacher, hey, do you think you might be a great fit for this? Would you be interested? We have a vacancy, and that teacher said yes, and then that's how that position got filled. Just because there was a vacancy. But usually when we open up a committee like that, we often open it up to anybody that we feel, that if they feel that they would be interested, they then sign up for it. If we get too many, then we kind of have a conversation with any of those teachers based on that.
Is that something that's like open to them every year? Like is it something?
No, the committee, because the development is like a progression. Last year we had goals and we had a focus. That was really the start of it. We went on, we really dove deep into the Illinois Comprehensive Literacy Plan and talked about the 7 components of that and learned all about that process and that plan. Now we're going on to the next step of that. Those staff members that weren't there last year are really at kind of catching up because of that. So we don't start with a new team every year because it is that building. And we hope to get to the point where then they are leaders in literacy for their grade level teams. So when they eventually have the capacity and competence to go back to their team and analyze literacy instruction or analyze, team data and say, hey, listen, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this instruction, what's working, what's not working, and kind of have that bit of confidence based on their knowledge of what they've learned over 3 to 5 years of being a part of this team.
So when do they have time to meet with like their grade level or whoever they're leading?
Yeah, so they have, at the elementary, they have 2 grade level team meetings a week. Those are 35 minutes. And then at the junior high, they have 1 team meeting a week. That's 42 minutes. That is their entire grade level. And then that's what, for math, that's what Julie was talking about with the math side of it, where they've had to work on building a structure where the content team has to meet together. So the 5th period, once a month, they've kind of built in these additional times where those teachers get coverage, where the math content, because that's where we're at with the math. And that's my next 5.2 is that LTL that they're talking about. We're about 5 years or 3 to 5 years within that work. So they have to make sure, the buildings have to make sure that there's a structure, an infrastructure, systems and schedules within the buildings to sustain this work.
Right, I know as teachers, a lot of time it's hard to meet with everyone and talk and
Right.
be able to share all the information. So
Yeah.
We try to.
Yes, and that's where
Curriculum-wise.
Julie and Jeff have worked on like early dismissal days. If they have the hour, they'll emphasize at the junior high, an hour is on professional development where they're getting that outside person, myself or, somebody teaching some type of professional development, and then they'll have an hour where they meet as a team, and they might say, okay, math content teachers, you're meeting, social studies, you're meeting, ELA, you're meeting, and they'll kind of work on that school improvement time schedule within that early dismissal. But the elementary does have every single week 2 grade level team meetings where that is where those discussions are happening. For math right now, where we hope to replicate that same system for ELA down the road.
And then after 5 years, do you get a new team going or?
We haven't gotten that.
Okay.
Hopefully then everyone has this ability, right? And so the leader, what we hope is leaders build leaders, right? We hope that everyone then has the capacity to analyze instruction and
So
analyze
this is just like
data.
a 5-year plan.
We're all gonna be experts, it's all gonna be great. Yeah, so we wanna make sure that we're conscious of how do we capture new staff that come in, right? And how do we make sure that we are training them? So Caroline is making sure when new staff are coming in, if they miss professional development for presenters that we've had in, she put them in to get those presenters, like for an upcoming conference, right? So we kind of think about them. When we have new staff trainings, the 3 of us plan 3 days with our new staff, and we kind of think about, okay, what did they miss over the last couple of years that we can then insert in those such. So we kind of are aware of those things and try to keep those in mind. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, 5.2, this is what Julie and Fran were referencing. It's called Learning to Lead. The acronym is LTL, math, and it does involve our entire administrative team and then a teacher from every grade level at all the buildings. So a kindergarten through 5th grade teacher at Ridge Central and at Ridge Lawn, kindergarten through 5th grade teacher, and then a 6th 7th and 8th grade teacher in math at Finley Junior High. And this work is adding on to the work from CASPER. If you remember that acronym, we've been working with the University of Illinois Chicago, or UIC, over the last several years. MCMI, all of these, I know it's like letters and all of that, but so this is building on that work. So this is a new grant called Learning to Lead in Math, or LTL Math. And the new professional development series has started for us. So the admin team is getting professional learning through Dr. Molly Watson, who she's affiliated with the University of Georgia, Atlanta, and then the University of Illinois, Chicago. And this work focuses on building leadership and also instructional capacity in math. And so with that, those two things, working collaboratively, the administrators are getting this training on how they can best support the teacher teams and best support teacher leaders within those teams, while the teachers are getting this training on how to analyze instruction and how to lesson plan and how to do all of these things from that teacher aspect. And then they're kind of coming together in this collaborative sense throughout the year. And so that's this work that everyone's kind of working on from different angles and ensuring that is successful so that we have effective teams. This is kind of the start of that DLT work, or DLLT work, and making sure that we have effective teams running where those math teacher leaders are understanding how to run those team meetings in support and collaboration with team leaders who are established and have been doing a lot of that work already. And it's this dynamic of how to effectively run and collaborate in a collaborative sense with team meetings around math instruction. And the administrators have professional learning to be able to support that work, while the teachers have this learning in order to be able to improve their instruction while also supporting their team through this process as well.
Are the MTSS teachers at this too?
We
The specialists?
So we only have reading specialists.
Oh.
We don't have math specialists.
So like a math coach or something?
We have math coaches, and they are involved in both the admin meetings for 3 hours, and then they travel and they also go to the teacher side.
Really fun.
So they're in the both meetings. So they're the in-between. They're like the jelly in the middle of the sandwich, right? So they're the connectors of the both. So yes, the math coaches do attend both, and then they go into the team meetings at the grade levels. And this is at the elementary. MCMI is working, they have a coach coming in for the junior high, and he works with the coach, or he does. Yeah, he's at both. He actually runs the teacher side.
He runs it, but he's not there as like the coach.
Yeah, he doesn't meet with them yet.
No, I know.
But yeah, so there's math coaches that go to both, and then they're at the admin meetings, and then they go to their grade level team meetings and support them, the teachers, through a coaching support as well, in the grade level team meetings. Yes.
So the reading specialists go to the DLLT?
Some of them do, not every single one of them. Ridge 1 has 2 that go, Ridge Central has 2 that go, and then Finley has 1 reading specialist, and she does go. So all but 1 across the district. Yes, and they are part of the DLLT, and then our math coaches are part of the LTL.
We'll get you through the chair next time.
Yeah.
It's a crossword puzzle. All you have to do is find the letters. So the math teachers are really building their capacity about student thinking and all that it has to do with improving their capacity for math instruction, while the administrators are working on building that effective teams, and then they're coming together to support each other collaboratively in that work in the buildings. Any questions on that?
Is this something teachers get like a stipend for being a part of, or is it just part of the regular day, so there's no extra?
That's correct. Yep. It's a part of their regular day. So it is a replicated schedule where they are also 3 hours, they're subbed out, and those are throughout the year. I think it comes down to 7 meetings. And then like Fran said, there's also these coaching sessions where the UIC team comes out and meets with the building teams, the administrators and the teacher teams, and coaches the building teams in between. And that they've only met, like Fran said, they have their meeting tomorrow, but the junior high and central has already met, and they'll meet in between each one. And if that is held outside of the school hours, the grant through the University of Illinois Chicago pays the teachers outside of their working day. That has been within the contract that we assigned with the grant through UIC. And if the teachers, if the admin ask to meet, they have always paid them. If it's outside of the school day, they always pay them. We just communicate with UIC, the clocked hours, and then they get compensated that way. I have no other.
How did your blood drive go?
It went very well. We had staff members, we had community members, we had families, and we had parents all show up. The village posted the flyers at the village hall, and they put it on the village website. We had people posted on social media platforms that then got shared out. So we had almost double the amount of participants, donors, that we have had in the past, which was phenomenal. So yeah, thank you for allowing us to use the facilities as always, but then also partner so that we can, broadcast it in the way that we did. I cannot tell you how many people it was their first time, and what they said is, one, it was close to home, and two, how comfortable they felt in the setting because they feel comfortable coming to the school, and how anxious they feel going to a facility to donate. Like donating blood is such an anxiety stricken, like if you've never donated blood, it can be, your first time is always a little nerve wracking, but then going to the facility is also always nerve wracking. So just having the ability to come to Findlay Junior High, like a place that some of them had even gone to school, or like they literally live on the corner right there, like that removed one of the barriers. So they said like, it's my first time donating, like husbands and wives, moms that brought like all of their kids, like students like of ours that like now like they're like, okay, next year I'm gonna donate, like, and it just trickled. So it's like such a cool opportunity to say like how comfortable they feel coming to like our building. Yeah, it was really cool.
And the chili was really good.
Yes, it was. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Kathy, you're up.
Okay, just one, 6.1, we want to talk about the summer 2026 construction projects. It is a very lengthy process, so we do always start at the end of the prior year to talk about what we want to do in June and July. And the first step is always to meet with the architect to go over our long-term site and facility plans. And together, Dr. Thorns, myself, Wes, and Corey, we review that plan. We talk about what has been accomplished, what has been scheduled to be accomplished, but possibly look better than they anticipated when we did that several years ago. So really the only two projects that we're looking at doing this year is going to be a project for the building controls over at Findlay. This was the project we did over at Ridge Central over the summer. And basically, it is a HVAC communication system. It just allows all of this fancy equipment to talk to each other. And so we're going to be going, hopefully if the board approves, to start the process for the Findlay building. And then also, last year, we were able to complete the last two grades for classroom furniture at Ridge Lawn and Ridge Central. So very happy to say we're gonna start communication with Jeff and Julie over at Findlay to finally get them some long awaited furniture as well. So we will work directly with Studio GC. They'll come in, they'll talk, they'll put some plans together, And so relatively quiet summer planned right now. Only those two things are what's on the horizon.
And I do want to point out the one other thing that we are looking at that is not part of this project. As I shared, we have lots more students, and with lots more students comes lots more staff. Ridge Lawn specifically is becoming really difficult to park at. If you go over there, you will see upwards of 20 cars having to park fairly far away. So we are in talks with the architect of what our options are. We had some what we thought were pretty good plans we brought to him, and he said, those aren't bad, but here's the problem. So we have that big field back there. We can't build a structure on top of it because you have the geothermal in that field, but you can put asphalt on top. The problem is now you're getting into the ratio of how much solid surface do you have versus like places where rainwater can go, and that then brings in like state level people and studies, and so this could take a lot longer to even get a timeline for. So that's why we're not including it in it, but it is something we're at least trying to have some discussions on right now. So.
And no other.
Thank you. 7.0 old business. 8.0 new business. 8.1 potential board action to accept the FY 25 draft of the audited financial statements as prepared by RSM US LLC.
I'll make a motion. Mrs. Grove. Aye. Mrs. Schroeder. Aye. Mrs. Lammle.
Aye.
Mr. Medina. And Mrs. Levinson.
Aye, thank you. 8.2, potential board action to authorize Studio GC to prepare design specifications and solicit bids for the summer of 2026 capital projects, which include building controls and classroom furniture.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Medina.
Aye.
Mrs. Grove. Aye. Mrs. Schroeder. Aye. Mrs. Lammle.
Aye.
And Mrs. Levinson.
Aye, thank you. 9.0 meeting reports, 10.0 informational, 11.0 opportunity for visitors to speak. Great. 12.0 president's prerogative. I counted, we have been in school for 37 days. That's really exciting. Only 100 something more to go. You know, the weather has changed, which is beautiful. All the kids are out and about for after school activities. It's wonderful. Just a little PSA for all of our families to drive safe, slow down. And our students who ride anything motorized, to please be careful, please stop. Because it can be really scary out there. Are we getting a lot of, really quick, are we getting a lot of parked motorized vehicles?
There's a
We
handful.
get a couple, they're supposed to walk it when they're on school property. As I'm sitting in the office many hours after it closes, that definitely does not happen
No.
at that time, but I feel like we do at least a pretty good job right in the area of
Yeah.
control.
Well, please be careful. And then next Wednesday is Unity Day. I hope all the schools will be lit up in orange. All right, thank you so much. 13.0, adjourn to closed session.
Yes, we're gonna adjourn for the discussion of employment, and compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, meeting to consider an increase in compensation of a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act as defined in the Open Meetings Act, Section 2C1. The discussion of collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or the representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees as described in Section 2C2, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired as defined in Section 2C5. The discussion of pending or probable and imminent litigation against, affecting, or on behalf of the district as defined in Section 2C11. And the discussion of minutes of prior meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act as defined in Section 2C21 for the purpose of review, approval, or release of such minutes. We will not be discussing any security or student discipline during this meeting.
I'll make a motion. Mrs. Schroeder. Aye. Mrs. Lammle.
Aye.
Mr. Medina. Mrs. Grove. Aye. And Mrs. Levinson.
Aye.